have, private equity involved, your different investors and like a board that you have to appease. And it really comes down to, is your PE company, are they in for the short term or long term, right? So short term, getting initiatives like this through can be more difficult because it's not going to yield dollars right away. And it's also a longer play from, a brand building perspective. And, for us, like we kind of are in between. Like our goal is to become an iconic brand, something that is a national brand everyone thinks about, everyone knows. But then we also have our private equity, who typically they're going to be with you 3 to 5 years before it changes hands. And so balancing that can be very difficult. And I think to that point, upper funnel has a lot of great long-term effects. It can be very valuable from long term, but it can also impact a business on the short term, whether you're talking about 6 months to a year. And so building the business case for the short term, knowing that you're going to gain all the long-term effects, is a good way to present it. Because I'd imagine you guys have to hit quarterly numbers and all that fun stuff. And obviously, if you're spending Q1, but you're not going to realize it until Q2, like how do you explain that? How do you measure that? How do you present that? And so, again, I think it really comes down to the business case, because again, you can do different scenario test planning. You can do a short-term scenario. Okay, this is what we can expect 6 months to a year if we're doing this. And you can extend that out if you want to do long-term. And you can also show, for us, what we're doing is basically we're testing back into everything. And so kind of, I wouldn't say baby steps, but we're proving out certain levels of incremental revenue. And as we prove those out, then we start scaling and expanding our reach. Because a lot of the other thing too that I think people don't necessarily always think about is, once you have, like, if you start to hit the KPIs that the MMM's telling you, that like the revenue's aligning with what you would expect from the work you've done and business cases you created, all that does is now you have more and more budget to play with as you realize those gains. And so it opens up the door for longer term strategies once your short term strategies start hitting.